Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road, and you're ready to go if you want to. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Live Music Nation Podcast Festival Edition. Today we're with Dave Sweet, and he's with Whiskey and Barrel Night. This kind of sounds good. I think there's not a lot can go wrong here. Dave, thanks for joining us. Give us a little background on you. Where'd you grow up? Talk a little bit about your family and career.
Well, I was born and raised in the Midwest. I'm a cheesehead from birth, so go Packers. Yes, I know we're struggling this year. I have a wide range of background. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, went to school here in the city. My degree is actually in engineering, and I did some engineering for a while. Through a series of unrelated career changes, was in the publishing industry and got involved with Whiskey Magazine, which then got me into the whiskey industry. So I was with publishing in the event side of things, everything from the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally to the Miami International Boat Show to Westminster Dog Show to events out in California. So I've made my rounds in the event industry, and when I had an opportunity to get involved with large-scale whiskey tasting events, I did through Whiskey Magazine, obviously a publishing side or connection to it, and did that up through about 2018. So this is coming up on my 20th year in the whiskey industry. Most of it is on the event side, and also the magazine and so forth. At one point, I was Senior VP North America, so I ran all of our business for North America. I'm very involved with everything globally. And in 2018, it was just time to move on, and we rebranded our national event series to Whiskey and Barrel Night. And I've done large-scale tasting events all across the country, Canada, a little bit in Europe and in Australia, and now just do Whiskey and Barrel Night across the country. So it's been kind of a sideways winding road to get where we're at now on the tasting events. Currently do them in about 6 cities across the country. Tampa coming up in March, and in DC, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, or across the bay in Pleasanton, and Los Angeles. So, but try to expand it and make it a little bit different and more interesting to the consumers, recognizing that shows and events have to evolve, which is what has brought us to where we're at now. So
very good, very good. All right.
No family background or anything else in the whiskey industry like so many others, unfortunately. But a long time, like I said, my 20th year.
All right, so let's jump into it. 3 questions that help our listeners kind of fully encompass what you have going on there. What does the event look like? What does it smell like? Meaning, is there food? What things are in the air? And what does it sound like? What kind of atmosphere do you have going on? Do you have music? Do you have entertainment? Do you have activities going on? So let's go back to number 1. What does this event look like?
It's a hybrid cross between a large-scale wine tasting or a beer tasting event that people have been to. So all the different whiskey producers, and just for the record, whiskey is a generic term like wine. Right. So whiskey encompasses bourbon, Scotch, Irish whiskeys, American craft whiskeys, and international whiskeys from around the world. So many people will say, I don't drink whiskey, I drink bourbon, or I don't drink whiskey, I drink Scotch, right? Whiskey encompasses everything. So we have suppliers and distributors and folks from all aspects of the industry coming in. They have a booth or a table, sometimes a very large, elaborate display. Garrison Brothers will come in and have almost a lounge set up where they're doing cocktail demonstrations and so forth. And so we'll have a large event, tables and booths and so forth set up where people can go and with their glass and taste different bourbons, scotches, and whiskeys from across the country and around the world. And then a whole separate area set up with a custom whiskey infused dinner buffet.
Okay.
Normally live music and a very, very high amount of energy and a lot of fun throughout the show. And you just wander around and have a good time, taste at your convenience, get dinner, appetizers during VIP and so forth, and have fun, which is what whiskey should be about.
Right, right. So, how often does this occur?
We do each city once a year.
Once a year. All right. Can you give us a rundown of times of years in the cities?
Sure. Whiskey tends to be a little bit more of a fall winter drink. In the summertime, everyone's having fun, and I know the Kentucky Derby and the mint juleps and so forth. But so we do the springtime, March, April, May. Like I said, Tampa's in March, and then March 14th, and then DC is April 18th. New York, we've moved to about the first week of May, and that's being confirmed. And then we do Pleasanton or San Francisco Bay Area Labor Day weekend in partnership with a large Scottish festival. How much more fun is a Scottish festival and whiskey tasting, right?
Right.
And
right.
then Los Angeles and Chicago in September and October.
Okay, very good. Very good. Talk about your passion for this. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of investment, a lot of volunteer hours, organization, management, nightmares. Talk about your passion, what keeps you going.
It's the intersection of obviously I have a strong passion for whiskeys and whiskeys of all types. I have several different aspects in different companies, including our own whiskey brand, an independent bottling that we do in partnership with some of the different whiskey producers around the world. But so it's that passion for whiskeys and also consumer events. I've had an opportunity and have done industry events, which we like doing, but it's a lot more business. This is about, at the risk of sounding altruistic, bringing people together, basically throwing a party. But people that are all there interested in tasting whiskey, having a good time. It is, I mean, we strive, believe it or not, for a 0% intoxication. And it's about tasting, it's about having fun. And when you see somebody who is a casual bourbon drinker and then they get a chance to taste something different or find a rye whiskey that they like or bring their taste to the next level, and they're like, holy cow, is that good? Or my God, I didn't realize that. Or just realizing how to get more out of it. That's just, it's satisfying. It's good. The brand ambassadors they're talking to people. They're explaining there's people interested. It's just a feel good.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic answer. That's got to make anybody feel good as you go through there. How do people find out more information about your events?
Obviously our website, whiskeyandbarrelnite.com. When we were rebranding, I had a close friend who always likes to be a bit edgy. So it's Nite, Nite, not to make things too easy, right? And then, so it's whiskeyandbarrelnite.com. And when you go on, it's just a standard ticket, and $99, $95 for a full evening, full dinner, unlimited tastings, live entertainment. We always have fun, interesting local bands. Keeps the energy going. It's meant to be a fun night. A bunch of our brands, like I said, Garrison, Breckenridge, and several others will come out and do cocktails. If Jenny's there from Breckenridge, watch out for the bourbon punch. That's all I got to say. It'll sneak up on you. And again, it's just tastings. So it's a good time, and we recommend it. We have pretty close to 100% satisfaction rate. Everyone going and saying, when you're doing this again, can you do it twice a year?
Sure. No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. All right, two fun questions I've got for you. I'm in live music and live entertainment. I always ask these next two questions just as a survey. I like to get information, compile them, and put in my little book. Everybody's different across the country. So I want to know, Dave, what is the best concert you've ever been to your entire life?
Wow. If you define best by what was the most memorable, fun time, probably Leonard Skinner at the Buffalo Chip Campground in Sturgis.
Yee.
That's pretty hard to top.
Yeah.
I'm a old classic rock guy. I can't tell you how many times I've seen ZZ Top in concert.
Wow.
Everything from them to Stevie Nicks, but Skinner was, and it wasn't all the other things that go along with Sturgis and everything else. It was the energy level of an outside concert in perfect weather, everybody having fun. It left a long-lasting impression. So, a long answer to your short question: Skinner at the Buffalo Chip Campground in Sturgis.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, dead or alive, you get to see one musical act. Who would you want to see?
Wow. I would love to go back with the original band and see one last concert of ZZ Top. I am just that big of a fan of those guys. Yeah, probably go back and see ZZ one last time.
There you go. Absolutely fantastic answer. I love it. Dave, thanks so much for joining us today. Any last words you want to speak? Let's ask this question. What's the best bourbon you've ever had?
Well, aside from my own barrels that I do, of course, there were two. Four Roses put out a special release to celebrate Al Young's 50th anniversary. So his 50th anniversary bourbon, and the very, very first toasted barrel, the very first release of Michter's that they did, a colleague of mine and I both agree that those are two of the best bourbons we've ever had. Unfortunately, those were one-offs, but they were fantastic. And if I were to give one bit of suggestion or advice to anyone drinking bourbon, scotch, craft whiskey, drink it the way you like it. Don't let someone else tell you what's good. Little splash of water, over on the rocks, neat, however you like it to your taste. That's what it's about.
Sure. Thank you so much for being on, Dave. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Jake.
Bye. Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine.